Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to mount the Y motor, which the Y motor is the one where the pulley section is on the outside, farthest from the motor, and the hub, which is this little section, is closest to the motor. So we're going to take the Y motor, and you can mount it in a couple of different orientations. What I usually like to do is protect the wires, so I kind of mount it so that the wires pass through here, and then they follow the rail on the inside here, and then back up and around. So that's one thing. And then the other is that we want to get this under control. So we are going to fish this all back down up underneath here and get that all so it's squared away. And you can tell already that it looks like it's a little off, because actually the pulley will be on this side with there, and you can already tell that it's a little off. So we're just going to go ahead and move these over, just because we know we're going to have to anyway. And slide that over. Slide the 608 bearings over. And move this over. Okay, so that's looking a little bit better there. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to take 3 of the M3 10mm long socket head cap screws. And we're going to take our motor, where we're going to put the wiring on the inside there, and we are going to mount this. There are 3 little holes in here. They all have recesses, so you can tell which side this is going to mount to, because it's smooth on this side, but they'll have recess so that the socket head cap screw will actually go in the inside of there. So what we'll do is we'll turn this so that you can see it a little bit better. And we are going to take our Allen wrench and try and find the hole for the screw. And we don't really want to tighten the first one, so super tight, but we do want to kind of get it so that we can actually work with it a little bit. And let's find next screw. So you just pick both of them up, and we'll put this one in here. We'll find the 3rd screw here, make it a little bit easier. Okay. Okay, so once you get all 3 of those, we're going to tighten them up. And that way the motor doesn't move. And this is one where you actually want to use the long section of the Allen wrench to kind of torque it a little bit, because you kind of want this on pretty strong. And the reason is because the Y motor actually is probably second only to the extruder under the amount of stress that it's actually under, and so you don't want any wiggle room at all with it. And so we tighten it up pretty good. I mean, this is, pulling into ABS, so it's not like super strong like it would be with steel or aluminum. And there's all those. Okay, so now we got our motor mounted on there. One of the things I kind of like to do, anytime I have wiring that's floating out there, if I know I'm going to have to tie it down eventually, I'm going to go ahead and use a couple wire ties, and we're going to get those kind of taken out of the way, more or less just for a little bit of housekeeping, as much as it has to be done anyway. So get that out of the way. And we want, part of the video got corrupted that was in the middle, so I'm going to show you basically what had transpired. You have to feed the timing belt around the pulleys here, but before you do that, you need to actually move this all the way up and make sure that the pulleys on the top here are directly in the middle of this thing, directly in line with the middle part of the clamp there. Then you got to do the same with the bottom. If you need to, you can actually take it off of a table, or you can hold it up and make sure that it is directly in line with that. So if you look at everything, it should all be lined up. And then after you do that, you tighten up, finger tighten both sides, and then you tighten them with the wrench like we should before. Same way with the bottom. And then all of your bearings and your pulleys are lined up. Then after you do that, then you go back through and you tighten up the bottom here after you feed the timing belt through there. You tighten up the bottom to those screws a little bit at a time. And the way I do it is that I take the long length of the belt and I pull it all the way around up here so that as it is wrapped, from here, it will be wrapped up around that, and I hold the end of that while I'm actually pulling or pushing this in. And what that does is that actually tightens up this whole thing so that you want it tight so it sounds like a really badly strung drum or badly strung guitar. So if you have that, then after that, then the rest of the video is just clipping this and then tying the other two. Thanks. Okay, so we're still tightening this up. I want it fairly tight. Okay, so there's that, and it appears that both these are pretty tight. One of the things we're going to do is put on jam nuts back on there, and we're going to do that after we kind of do a little walk around with this and see how it actually, whether this walks one way or the other. Okay, it doesn't appear that it walks very much. At the top part it does a little bit, but we're going to let it go for now and see. And this is pretty tight, which is what we want. And one of the things we're going to do is that we are then going to cut our band. Okay, so we're going to use this for our x-axis, so set that off to the side. And now we're going to actually put the jam nuts back on here. We took those jam nuts off earlier, and all that does is it gives a little bit more reinforcement for those nuts to make sure that they don't creep off of there. So we're going to turn those. And if it turns out that this belt walks one way or the other a little bit too much, you can adjust the angle of the belt in here a little bit, make it one way or the other. And by doing that, many times you can actually just adjust the walking of that so that it stops walking altogether. The other thing you can do is tighten or loosen this a little bit. We'll kind of control it a little bit. There's one. Here's our second jam nut. A little bit harder to get in there. Number two. And now, check it out. See if it walks too much. That is not bad. Sometimes I'll go a couple weeks and then I'll adjust it after it gives time for the belt and everything to work its way in. And with that, we are going to maybe tighten this up one little click, and we're going to cut it off. I always cut this one off and leave a little bit of a tab just in case I have to adjust it later. So there you go. Now we have the motor lined up on our bed.